Gannet represents the type of small cruiser which was vital for the policing of the British Empire. Their main role was cruising around the seas of the world, protecting trade and interdicting the enemy's trade.
A small gun and a British flag are usually enough to get regional players to behave themselves. The Royal Navy is too important to mess around with.
As cruisers like Gannet policed the oceans for Britain, they found themselves on the front line in the fight against the slave trade. Britain had once traded slaves heavily, but outlawed it in 1807 after intense public pressure.
You have the establishment of the West Africa Squadron, which consists of a number of Royal Naval vessels which are tasked with patrolling the west coast of Africa and intercepting slaving vessels of other countries, as well as the odd British interloper.
The anti-slavery patrol was one of the most fraught, difficult tasks the Royal Navy had to face. On the West African coast, they had to patrol 3,000 miles of very impenetrable coastline where slavers were making huge fortunes.
While unable to completely stop this well-funded, gruesome industry, the Royal Navy did have some success.
The most obvious positive outcome from the activities of the West Africa Squadron is the saving of 150,000 African lives, which otherwise would have been obliged to survive the journey across the Atlantic and into enforced servitude.
The brutal Atlantic slave trade only stopped when slavery was abolished in the Americas in the 1860s. But the trading of humans in Africa was not yet over.
Britain's anti-slavery efforts do shift from the Atlantic world into the Indian Ocean. Along the east coast of Africa, particularly in Zanzibar and in Mombasa, you had a number of sultanates which, as a central point of their economy, were supplying huge numbers of enslaved Africans to markets in Egypt, in Sudan, in Oman, and elsewhere in what we now describe as the Middle East.
HMS Gannet was sent to stop it. She made regular anti-slavery patrols in the Red Sea. In 1887, Gannet's crew spotted a suspicious ship.
They stopped an Arab dhow, which was a small Arab trading ship. And in that particular case, the Arab dhow indicated that it probably was doing something that they didn't like by opening fire on the crew.
A journalist based in Suakin reported on the incident.
While chasing a supposed slave dhow near Mersa Halib, the boat's crew was suddenly attacked by a large party of natives concealed in a creek. Lieutenant Stewart was fatally wounded and died on board.
The slavers likely sunk their own ship and fled. Undeterred, HMS Gannet continued her patrols until the slave trade ended around 1900. She survives as a powerful symbol of the Victorian anti-slavery campaign. In 2009, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown gave President Obama a gift of a pen holder made from a piece of timber from the Gannet. The old cruiser's battles are not forgotten.